Have you ever walked into a gym and felt a little bit weird about it, or somebody tried to be salesy with you and push you into a membership? Well, I've had this experience recently, and I've had it a lot of other times. So I'm just going to talk about it and voice it and also give some thoughts and advice if this scenario happens to you and you want to get around it. The reason why I think this is so important and relevant to where I am now is I just moved into a new apartment. You could see there's kind of a mess in the background. And whenever I move to a new place, one of the things I need to do quickly is find a new gym. You want to do everything quickly that's going to cause some tension because if you don't, you might not get around to it. And if you've been thinking about going to a gym for a while, but I got to walk into them, maybe someone's going to sell me. Yeah, that sucks. So you got to get it out of the way. Anyway, so I moved to a new apartment. I thought one of the gyms here looked really cool. And I saw like in the comments, people were like, it's so affordable, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I showed my girlfriend the photos, and she's like, I don't know, it looks like a salesy gym. And then I started thinking, oh, it's gonna be salesy. I'm gonna get in there, and they're gonna try to sell me and sit me down. Dude, if a gym sits you down, that's never a good thing. Like the reason I'm saying that is, you go into a gym and they just want to show you around. You just ask them questions, they show you around. Like, hey, do you want to sign up? Like, that's cool. I like that. I'm gonna get in. I'm gonna get into the depths of that. But if a gym takes you around and then says, here, sit down at the table, and they pull out a blank sheet of paper, you know you're about to be into a sales process right there because they're going to write down prices that if they had a stable price, they would just pull out the sheet that says all the prices. But if they pull out a sheet of paper, it's a sales process. I have friends that love going to really nice gyms. Cool. Great. Like, fortunately for me, I'm not one of those people. I feel like a really nice gym sometimes a little bit sterile. Like they have rules and regulations, and some people like that stuff. I'm not that person that needs that. Excuse me. But recently, I've been thinking I could go to a nicer gym, one that actually has a usable shower. Okay, that might sound weird, but you don't know the kind of gyms I go to here in Vietnam. But I was like, it would be really nice to go to one of these nice gyms. So I looked at all the gyms that are near me and then made my drive. And I was like, I'm going to go to these different gyms. And the one I wanted to go to most, I was like, I'm going to go to there first. And I went in. Unfortunately, I could see it's going to be a salesy process. They got the chairs set up that you know that the salesy area. And just like, oh man, if they don't sit me there. Anyway, they showed me around the gym. Yes, they sat me at the table, pulled out a blank sheet of paper, and started writing the prices of stuff. Obviously, there's contracts, right? Like they want to lock you into a certain amount of time. One thing I would say is, as much as you can, flexibility is better than anything else. I would pay a little bit more to have flexibility, but my preference is actually gyms that have all their prices listed. And if you sign up for longer, you get little bits of discounts, but it's all listed and it's a good price anyway. Like that's the gyms I like. But this gym was not the case. It was, the first thing she writes out, I think, is she's asking me if I can do 2 years. She's like, we have 2-year contracts. We also have a year agreement. And I'm just like, I'm living here for 6 months. I'm like, this apartment. She's like, okay, well then all you can do is a 6-month agreement. This is the price for it. And she writes it down. And I'm just like, okay, what about for 2 people? She writes, oh, it's the same price. I'm like, okay. That's all the questions I have. She's like, well, and I can see her asking questions. She literally makes a face at me when I'm like, that's all I got for now. I'm going to go. She goes, like, I can see she's like wanting to convince me to get this sale. Like she's, if somebody makes that face, especially in any sales environment or anything around that, they're being less helpful to you. And they're being, wow, my voice is cracking. Sorry, I'm filming a couple of these videos in a row. Let me get some water. They're being less mindful to you and helping you figure out what's best for you. And they're being more mindful about, I want to get commission for this sale. So I have done sales a lot. I have been in sales for many, many years. And I still worked in these sales environments initially and worked around tons of other salespeople, now have my own company and stuff. I think sales is a great skill and extremely important for anything you do in life. There's also a difference between really good and great salespeople and salespeople who are not so great or not so considerate. And I think a really good salesperson will help you figure out what is best for you, and they'll make sure that they can get that for you. Especially like I have my own company, so I want to figure out if it's great for someone, and then I'll work with them. If it's not great for them, I don't want to sell them because it's going to be a hassle. They're going to be a hassle client. Nothing's going to go well. I want to make sure it's going to work out for both of us, and I'm fine with that. A salesperson that just wants to put money in their pocket and does not care about the other person will just force them into getting the close. And so if you ever see a salesperson that's being a little bit too pushy, be mindful of it. Unfortunately, that pushiness works with a lot of people. And so when I'm in a scenario like that and I can see someone start pushing, if I don't value the place or the thing enough, I'll just say that's all for me. And then as they start like trying to ask other questions, because when you're in a seat, it's psychologically you feel stuck there. When they start like trying to be a little bit too pushy on stuff, you just say, all right, that's it for me, and you just start getting up. And then you can be kind. You can let them say a couple other things if you want. But like, thank you so much. There's nothing else. I'm gonna go for now. And literally, you just get up slowly and just start walking out. You can do it with a smile on your face. It's fine. And I could see her like starting to shake and but like she's just trying to get the sale. Anyway, those kind of environments are not for me. Period. So as soon as she starts doing that, I know that I don't want to go to a gym like that. For me personally, I don't like that environment. Not for me. So when I feel too pushy or the energy in the gym is a little bit odd, it's not for me. I can feel it. I've been into so many gyms in so many countries over so many years. Seriously, I've been to hundreds of gyms as I've traveled through different countries and traveled to different cities or different areas of a different city and lived in different areas, day passes at different places, whatever. I've seen so many gyms and I don't like that. So I went to another gym that was also really nice, and I walked in. I like that one way better because of the energy I felt. And I'll choose gyms a lot of times because of the energy. And so I walked in. There's this really buff guy, right? The first place is just some girl who's dressed in the attire for there. She didn't look that fit. The second place is like some huge buff dude, tall, muscular, and I'm like, okay, at least he's a fit guy. The place is cool. He shows me the prices right away, and then takes me through the place real quick. And then I tell him like, thank you so much. Like, I'm just driving around trying to make sure I choose the right gym today. He's like, all right, man, just let me know. And then I left. And I was like, that was cool. I'm cool with that experience. That's fine. One of the things I know about like these really nice gyms in some places, like sometimes the higher end of a gym you go, the less equipment they have. I know that might sound weird, but I've seen it in a lot of gyms, like these really high end gyms. They're luxurious, but they don't have a ton of equipment. And so the place was really cool, but it didn't have a lot of equipment. And so I was like, all right, well, let me go try one of the more Vietnamese style gyms, which is it's what I like. It's what I usually go to, but it's not a high end gym. So after I left there, I went to the local small Vietnamese gym. Actually, it wasn't that small. For a day pass, it's 30,000 VND for this last gym. Okay, the first two were quite expensive. This next place local, 30,000 VND, which is a little bit more than $1. Okay, and their month pass is about $14 to $16 for the month pass of this local Vietnamese place. The first two places were anywhere from, I think, $60 to $70 per month. Okay, but it's not per month. They're going to sign you up for 6 months, and so you're paying $60 to $70 on a 6 month agreement. All right, and when you go to one of these local places, they don't have agreement. They're like, you want to come in for a day? Here, just give us $1. You want to sign up for a month? Here's the price for a month. Oh, you want to sign up for 3 months? You'll save money, but here's the price. And 6 months, here's the price. Like they have the sheet. They just pull the sheet over to you and show you right when you walk in. And I like those places, right? Like they don't have the amenities. When I'm at the really nice gyms, they're like, you get a towel when you walk in. We got a sauna there. The saunas aren't that great depending on the gym. And they're trying to like sell you this free water for you to put your water here. And they show me that a couple times. I'm like, that's great. Because the local gyms that are cheap don't have free water. But the local gym that I went into, I'm like, hey, can I get a large water bottle? One of those freaking big ones. And it's like, it's 60 cents for one of those. I'm fine paying that whenever I go to the gym. getting a big bottle of water. And so anyway, I'm like, I'm gonna just pay a day pass and go feel it. And in these cheaper gyms, you can do that. And so I paid the day pass. I'm walking in. Of course, I'm the only white guy there, and so I can feel all these eyeballs looking at me, which is a little awkward. But I don't. People usually don't have bad intentions, especially not in Vietnam. They're such kind people. And so I'm feeling a little awkward, but I'm like looking at all the equipment in the gym, and then I go over to the machine. I'm stretching next to it because I'm about to start it, and some like super buff dude comes over to that machine and starts using it. So I just move over a little bit, and when I'm done stretching, I can see he's loading new weights on. So I like grab some weights that he's putting on, and I just like help him with put the weights on the machine. And he thanks me and he's like, "Are you using it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I would like to." Also, we're not like we still have a language barrier, by the way. And he's like, "All right, cool, get on." And so I used the machine and we worked out together. And so I kind of had a little bit of a friendship like right off the bat. His energy was great, great smile and stuff like that. So felt good energy there. And when you do that, you kind of acknowledge each other the rest of the time you're at the gym, which is like, all right, I made a new mini friend there. And if you keep going at the same time, you might build that friendship. And then, a lot of people looking at me and head nods and acknowledging people. And then at one point, there's this guy, older guy, who was like staring at me a little bit. And so I looked at him after a set, and then he reached over to give a handshake. And so I shook his hand. And then while I'm like sitting on the machine, it's between my sets. Okay, I'm not working at this minute. He starts dancing in front of me. I'm not joking. I'm going to see if I can show you on camera what kind of dance it was. It was like this. Seriously. I didn't do it justice. He was way better at dancing than I just showed you, but he was really good. And then he finished up, and then a couple people were around because he was talking to someone. I was like, acknowledged him, and then he looked at me, and I was like, "Wow, good job!" And he like smiled even bigger because I gave him that acknowledgement. And then he like got on the ground and started doing some other dance moves, stuff that I can't really do, but he was like doing some other stuff. And then like he tripped and like kind of fell at one point, but then he flipped over and did some push-ups like he was doing that. And he got up. And I mean, that was just some fun energy, like a little bit interesting and odd, but what wonderful energy. And I'll tell you, that workout was great. A really, really good workout. There's lots of machines in that place. And when I left, I was thinking, that was the best part of my day. Going to the gym, that gym was the best part of my day. And I'm looking forward to going back. And in fact, the day pass is so cheap that I might still try some other local gyms that have those cheap day passes and go back there. And I might try other times of the day and stuff. But I really like that experience. And so some of the stuff I want to share with you is don't be pushed into a contract or agreement. It's great to be able to look at all the gyms and see what works for you. Because honestly, you're trying to build this as part of your lifestyle, and it might not work, right? Like if you go to a gym that isn't that great, they lock you into a contract because they're a little bit pushy, and then you go there, but you don't like the energy, and sure, maybe you'll be consistent with it, maybe not. But if you go somewhere and you really like the energy, you probably want to keep going back. Of course, there'll be days where you don't want to go. That happens to me. I don't want to go to the gym, but I still do it. But when a gym has great energy, it feels good. I can really, really see the energy of the gyms because of how many I've went to. I also think I have a good ability to see the energy of people and things. I think it's just from the constant interaction I've had with people and analyzing that I enjoy doing that has helped me learn the energy of the environment and the people. But when I find a good energy environment, I really like it. So I highly recommend, especially if you're looking for a gym or if you're thinking about going to a new gym, to find one that you feel good about. And hopefully they don't lock you in. We often choose gyms that are close to us. I think that's a great choice to do one that's close to you. I like to choose gyms that are under 10 minutes away because if a gym is too far away, that drive becomes a friction. So if it's like raining, I don't want to go. And mind you, I'm riding on like a motorbike. And so if it's raining, I'm like, I don't want to go. But if it's under 10 minutes, I'm just like, I'll put on my rain jacket and I'll get there, right? It's not going to be that terrible of a drive. It's not that long. But if it's over 10 minutes, there's some days I just don't really want to do it. So I choose gyms that are under 10 minutes. Fortunately, for where I am, there are plenty of gyms. I think there's at least like 6, maybe more gyms that are under 10 minutes. So I have a lot of choices. And so wherever you are, you can pull out Google Maps and do that, look around at all the gyms and try to find them within the time frame that's acceptable for you. 15 minutes, over 15 minutes can be hard. And so if you only have one gym, I get it. It kind of locks you in a little bit. Some people will drive further if it's a really good gym that they want to do, what they want to go to. But if you have some choices, try out each one of them. If they don't have, like, a day pass is the optimal scenario, because then you get to actually be in there for a while and feel it. If not, just ask them if you can have like a free workout. Just try it out for the day. That's some gyms will offer that, especially if they have contracts. And if they're pushy, be very mindful of that. And if you can just feel it, and you can feel a couple of the gyms, you could always go home at the end of the day, like write about it or think about it and be like, which one felt the best? But do your best not to get into an agreement. If the gym has a month pass that's even more expensive, that could save you money in the long run. Because if you sign up at a gym for a year, oh my God, that's way too long, by the way. But if you sign up at a gym for a year and then after a month you don't really like it, you might force yourself to go because you already paid for the next month or 2 months. But then you might be like, I'm going to go somewhere else, or I'm going to stop working out. I signed up for a gym that I don't really like. I'm just going to stop going. I already paid for it though. And like, that's such a waste of money. So pay more upfront. I do this with so many things in life. I'd rather pay more upfront than be committed to something. This like software has like a, commit to one year. I'm like, no, I'll pay more for the monthly. And usually a lot of times I'll use it for 1 to 3 months. And I'm like, no, all right, I'm good. I didn't want to use that software anyway. That's kind of one of the reasons why they want to lock you in, because they want all that money. So don't get locked in. Save your money. Go to a gym that feels good to you, and then you'll have your biggest progress and also enjoy it. If you have any questions around the gym or the feelings or the environments or any of that, feel free to let me know. And thank you for watching. See you in the next one.